Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live show. Uh, some great football this weekend. And today we have the College National Championship. Notre Dame, the last I checked, we're about like a 9-point underdog. Let me just check. Oops, there's my mic. My mic closer over here. Everybody can hear me? Let's see, NCAA football. Schedule. Notre Dame. Oh, it's already on the right one. All right. 9-point underdog still. It's 7:30 tonight? Uh-oh. We're gonna have to start. We're gonna have to go live on the game while we're on live on the show. Or is that all pregame stuff? Rob's on vacation. Rob is in Japan. Well, he's probably right now. He's probably in the air. I think he was leaving sometime on. He went to New York for Sunday, and then he was leaving sometime Monday. So he'll be in Japan for a couple weeks. I'll probably do some films tomorrow, some videos tomorrow without him. I didn't do any last 2 days, but I had some other projects I was working on. Mr. Terrible's back. It's terrible. Anyway, AK Nation's called in the last 3 weeks. You did? I have not watched any. All I watched was highlights of the first game. I knew it would be fast paced. I just knew it would be women's basketball still without Caitlin Clark. It sounds awful, but women's basketball is okay. It's better than the NBA right now. Except for NBA playoffs is good, but NBA regular season is just NBA's All-Star game is no good anymore. You watch with Adrian Ross? Oh, okay. Oh, she went live on it? I guess when the finals come, I'll do a live show, but I don't know. This collar's too high. Why is it so high? It's a new shirt. Caitlin should have played. Well, I think she'll play next year. I think it's better that she doesn't play this year, and then they can see how the ratings double next year. People can't say, "Well, it was growing all along." Well, they're going to say that anyways, I guess. But if Asia Wilson joins at the same year, then they'll give it like 50% to Caitlin Clark and 50% to Asia Wilson. Because she didn't play this year either. I'm not sure what her rating was. She's mobile enough to be a good 3x3 player, so I don't think that was really the issue. I mean, she wanted to work on other parts of her game or something. I don't know. She might get injured for the WNBA season. She's worried about her legacy because she knows Caitlin Clark is coming. Her fans are calling her the greatest player of all time already, and she knows Caitlin Clark could take that away real quick in the next 5 or 10 years. So we'll see what happens. Bills won yesterday. I thought they got screwed over on the goal line. I thought Josh Allen was closer to where they marked it, and they marked it on the 2. I thought he got another full yard after that. I don't know. I guess he bounced, but his hard angle. They didn't really play a lot of angles from that, but it looks like the ball was on the 1 when his knee went down. And then he bounced and went to the goal line. But I wasn't expecting to be on the goal line. I thought it was on the 1. They put it on the 2, and they go, okay, that's too far for a push, which it really isn't for him because he usually gains 2 yards on that. So they did a hike in the back and looked to see if he could find an opening, and that he got stood up on that one. So the line didn't do their job. And now they're like down the 2.5. They were afraid to do it from there, so they kicked the field goal. But I thought the Bulls. I thought the Bills got a really bad spot on that. I thought it was a yard off, but I have to see all the replays and the angles. But they won. Now they have to beat Kansas City and the refs. That was a worse call. I feel sorry for Houston. I'm not saying Houston would have won, but it certainly would have been closer because they scored on the first one, which was more acceptable because it looked like there was some head contact. It just wasn't enough. It was more chest than head. But the second one, he just slid so late. Patrick Mahomes and the two defensive players hit each other's head, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's close enough. We'll give him 15 yards." Robin's live chat was dead today. Really? Is it usually good? I've never been on his chat before. Hopefully mine's better. Anyways, I noticed the college game is 7:30. Is it really starting at 7:30, or is that the pregame? Because I thought it was going to start at 8. Well, I'm wondering whether it's worth doing a video about the fact that the WNBA completely ignored Caitlin Clark's stalker news, and then completely ignored that she was seen at the football game with Taylor Swift. They could have put a tweet about it. They didn't have to make an article or something, but they could have acknowledged it's publicity. It's free publicity. They hate her. They just wanted to say, oh, if I give her any attention, then we're already giving her more attention than she's already getting, which is too much as far as they're concerned. But if it was any other player, there would have been an article about it. If it was A'ja Wilson, there would have been a press release. They would have had, what's her name, Jackson, who's a Women's Players Association, would have written a letter and then talked about it and talked about how the WN players are all victims and stuff like that. And then she would have blamed Caitlin Clark fans for someone else's stalker. Oh, is there an inauguration today? Uh-oh. I tend to think of it as Martin Luther King Day, which is Basil, what's your record on the games? Because I never wrote yours down. You were supposed to do them on the videos. You went with the Bills. And Basil, I looked that up again, and because Kelsey Mitchell has a 5 years with the same team, she gets the same contract, Supermax, if she signs as a free agent or if she gets cored. So what I said on the video was correct. 2 people corrected me, but I was correct. And it's only because she's been playing for the same team for 5 years. And there's another exception too. I put it in the quote. I forgot what it was. There were 2 exceptions. Yes. I was not happy with it. I especially was unhappy with that second call. And they went and scored. That would have been 4th down, and they went and scored a touchdown after that one. And it really kind of like changed the momentum of the game too. It felt like it just, that was terrible. Here's my feeling, and tell me, this seems to me, makes sense to me logically that they should have done this before. I read an explanation that they said, when in doubt, give them the roughing the passer call. So there's no hesitation. Just give it to him when in doubt. You're crazy, Mr. Terrible. They didn't try to. He slid at the last second. Sorry, you're insane. You must be a Chiefs fan. They hit each other's head. He barely got touched. Anyways, let's go back to the issue at hand. The fact that they don't review these calls. if they're going to, when they have like a touchdown play, if they're not sure, they just call it a touchdown because they know it's going to be replayed. On this play, if they're going to automatically give the benefit of the doubt to the quarterback on those calls just to err on the side of caution, then they should be always reviewed. They should throw the flag and then say, the call against the quarterback is under review, and all calls against the quarterback should be under reviews. And then just give it to him when, even if it's close, which I have no problem with. I'd rather wait 2 minutes and get it right. So, anyways, what do you guys think of that? That since this is the quote from the NFL or well, it was an article and an explanation saying, "Oh, these calls were right, and here's why." They said, "When in doubt, you give it to the quarterback to play." So my point is, I'm not saying to do this for every penalty, but if they're going to err on the side of caution and always give the quarterback the unsportsmanlike conduct, then they need to always like they do that in targeting in the college football, if I'm not mistaken. Anytime there's a potential targeting, they say the play is under review for potential targeting, and they review every targeting call before they give the player a targeting call. Because sometimes it's a targeting one, I think it's a targeting two. Like one targeting can get you thrown out, and the other one can give you just a specific unsportsmanlike play, and another one will get you out. So in order to, because it's such a big deal, because you can get thrown out, they review all those plays. And I'm saying if they're automatically going to err on the side of caution and give it to then they need to review those plays. Because if they had reviewed that plays, that flag would have been pulled up against Mahomes. That was not, he slid at the last second and he barely got touched. Tell me if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I can't review every unsportsmanlike play, but they're erring inside of caution with the quarterbacks. The first one, I don't know what would happen if they reviewed the first one. There was some helmet contact, but it didn't look like the helmet contact had any significance. It looked like it was more in the chest. And I think if they had reviewed that one, they would have pulled the flag too. But the second one bothered me more than the first one because he slid at the last second. You can't just slide at the last second. Sorry. And then he did that crap where he was going out of bounds and he stopped out of bounds so he would get pushed, and then he flopped. He should have got 15 yards for flopping. Seriously, it should have given him the NBA flopping rule on that one. Not only he stopped, he can't stop. I mean, if you're gonna say, "Hey, be easy on the quarterbacks when they run out of bounds, just let them run out of bounds," then he can't stop when he gets to the sideline. He's got to keep going out of bounds. Mandatory media availability, right? So I know you can't replay every call. I get that, every play. But I'll tell you, when a game ends as compared to 40 years ago, I'm a lot more comfortable with the fact that the calls were fair and they got them right since they really upped how many things can be on replays. You know, when they changed it to all turnovers and touchdowns are instantly replayed. Thank you. Stocky, thank you for the donation. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Okay. I had a long day today. Oh yeah, when they decided that all touchdowns and turnovers were automatically reviewed, that really cleaned up the number of mistakes that were being made, because now any other calls could be challenged by the refs, and now we got a lot of calls being reviewed, and we're going to get a lot more right, which is what we want, because one call can determine a game, unfortunately. Are they that Mahomes? He's talking negative arguments. They do. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Maybe I'm not on the internet enough and X and stuff like that to know if that's true or not. I don't. I think he's a fantastic player, And I think he could go down as the most valuable player ever. He could. I'm not saying he's there yet. I'm saying it's obvious he could. But I don't like what he did with the late slide and stopping on the sideline so he can get pushed out of bounds and flopping. That's legitimate criticism of him. The first one was just the refs, but he knew he slid late. He should have slid earlier. Retroactively pardoned his entire family back to 2014. Who did what? I don't understand that. Fourth best play. Well, this year he's probably the fourth best quarterback. Well, Josh Allen and who was the third? Who would be the third? Oh yeah, he was probably the fourth best quarterback. Well, then he should have slid a lot earlier. I mean, because he saw that there wasn't anything in front of him and he was still running. So he needed to stop a lot earlier than that, like other quarterbacks do. Well, that's what happens when you're a runner. You can get hit in the head. He's a runner. All right, let me see what we got here. Hip drop tackle. Oh, did they? I know I may have missed that one, or I forgot about it. I think I said in the beginning of this hour before people got here, it was only like 2 people, I think. I thought Josh Allen got a really bad spot when he ran to the goal line near, at the end of the game there. I saw the replay and it looked like, I know he bounced and then he bounced into the end zone. It looked like the ball was on the 1 when his knees hit the ground. Now, they didn't show it at a lot of angles, but they put it on the 2, like literally behind the 2. I mean, a whole yard off on the spot, which was huge because they would have done a tush push instead of the play that they ran, and they could have done that twice and got in. Would have put the game away. I thought they got screwed over on the placement. I don't know why they didn't challenge the placement of the ball. I think they had a challenge left. I don't understand. I think the coach of the Bills blew it by not challenging that placement. But luckily they won. You go watch what I think you'll see what I'm talking about. He did like bounce, but the first bounce I thought hit the 1 yard line instead of the 2. Anyways, well, I'm glad the Bills won. Now they still have one more game left against Kansas City, and Josh Allen's 0-3. But they showed the stats between the 2 quarterbacks, and Josh Allen scored 28 points, almost 29, I think, in those 3 games. His team, anyways, and he passed for almost as many yards, but not quite as many. Mahomes, team scored around 33 points, I think, and passed for 25 or 50 more yards per game. And Mahomes had 9 in those 3 games. He had 9 TDs and no interceptions, and Josh Allen had 9 TDs and 1 interception. So Josh Allen's played really great. It's just Mahomes has played a little bit better. And at least last year, they had a better defense. I mean, Kansas City's had a good defense the last couple of years. Before, they didn't have a good defense. The first time they lost to Buffalo. I'm getting some more tea. Needs 30 seconds in the microwave. I had a little pot made. Not pot like pot, smoke pot, but teapot. I'm going to have to. I haven't watched Unrivaled. I just watched highlights of the first game. There was no commercials in the first and fourth quarter. I heard they keep every time Chelsea Mitchell, Chelsea Gray touches the ball, they have to say point guard, and that what's her name? Still lots of missed layups. Oh God, it's because they're allowing it to be physical still. I'm telling you, that's the main reason that it's too physical, and then the players get intimidated. That's why I think in the WNBA they miss so many layups is because they allow too many fouls to people get away with it, and then they're looking over their shoulder sometimes. The missing wide open layups, I have no explanation for that. You've been watching. I haven't watched Iowa play. I know they lost 5 straight, and they've lost almost every one of the games. I'm in like 7 points or less, or 10 points or less, or so. So that's too bad. Keep losing close games. Mark is old school boomer woke, not modern woke. Yeah, I don't like the very far left. I do not like the very far left. I think they're making things worse. Angel's still hacking the ball. I saw some of her layup attempts. I saw some highlights, and she's like she's offensive fouls, and she fouls and gets away with it. I'm not like Archie Bunker. Get out of here. I'm not even close to Archie Bunker. Did she play? She played 2 games or 1? I know she played. Did she? Yeah. Maybe they don't have to give up. All they have to do is give up Melissa Smith for instead of Melissa Smith in a draft pick if she keeps playing poorly. I'm woke by the original definition, not by the definition that the far right it has right now. Let's put it that way. Can survive until Caitlin Page, Juju. Yes. Bobby, that's a good point about Unrivaled but from what I saw in some of the highlights, they're allowing physicality in there. And if you need, it doesn't matter which league it is. If you want the more exciting, more athletic, less bulky players to shine, you have to start calling the game like it's supposed, like what the rules say it's supposed to be called. I mean, just how they call it in the NBA is fine. Regular season NBA refs, if you put that in the WNBA, you will see the style of play improve. You'll see fewer missed layups. You'll see the more athletic players start to shine more. The dirty players, like, more physical, dirty, bulkier players won't be as productive. But you need to do that. It starts with the refs. And the refs, well, that starts with the commissioner. So Nafisa Collar is not one of those type of players that benefit from all that physicality. She's handsy and stuff when she plays defense, but if she's helping running this league, and Brianna Stewart too, they need to get on the commissioner, their own commissioner, or her husband, I think, right? Or he's just the president, I guess. They don't have a commissioner, and call this game tighter, because I saw a decent amount of physicality when they drove to the basket. I just saw the highlights, but I didn't see fouls being called on some of the plays that I thought should have been called. Well, Basil, if that's what they're doing, I'm telling you, that's a problem. That is a problem. The highlights I saw too much physicality, too much fouling, not enough calls. I don't understand what they have against blowing a whistle. They won't have to blow the whistle that much if they start blowing the whistle, because the players will change their game and stop fouling so much. Then the refs won't have to blow the whistle so much. No traveling or no traveling calls. They call traveling in women's college basketball. I don't know what to say. This is I feel like a broken record, but this is so obvious. That's just, I don't know. It's obvious to me anyway. But I think the commissioner's not very bright, nor does she understand basketball. She might be business bright in some ways because she had some success in business, but she's not bright in running a business of this magnitude. She's not bright in marketing. She's not bright in public relations, and she doesn't understand basketball or the fans or what she has in Caitlin Clark. I mean, should I go on? This commissioner's not qualified. And that will slow the success of the league down. She has the only reason it's growing quicker and faster is not because of her. They're doing it despite because of her. They're doing it because Caitlin Clark's fans. Call back by the Tony brothers. Who's the Tony brothers? They're foul calls. Fouls like bird calls. FOWL. That's a nice spell. You mean FOUL? All right. Maybe I'll have to watch some. I'm just not excited about 3-on-3 women's basketball without Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark was playing, yeah, I could get into that. But you could easily get injured. Look at Marina Marabi, whatever his name. Marina Marabi didn't even make it into the first game, right? Fly Hippie could sit in for Rob while he's out. Fly Hippie, I would love to have a beer with Fly Hippie or do a show with him. Yeah, he's cool dude. I had a guy that I thought was going to do it. I had called him up. He's a lawyer. And get this. So I'm having a conversation with him. And he said that I met him through like legal means. He's an attorney. And he said he follows women's basketball closely. And he said to me, as we were talking about Caitlin Clark, and I said, she got fourth in the MVP. And I was talking about Bobby here, always give me a hard time about that. And he said, well, that's what she got. That's not what she deserved. He said, I said, oh. I said, well, it's only a matter of time. It's going to be higher than that. She'll be the. He said she has a limit in her ability. She'll never be better than a top 10 player in the league. So I bet him. I said, what do you want to bet? A gentleman bet's $20. What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet? He goes, dinner. I go, whatever. I said, gentleman's bet. What do you want to bet? She gets an MVP. You owe me. I said, and so that's the bet. I have a bet with him right now. But it's insane that he thinks she's already a top 5 player, and he's saying her limit's a top 10 player. He doesn't think she'll ever be a good defensive player because he doesn't think her feet are quick enough. I don't think her feet speed is the problem. I think it's her stance and the way she moves her feet. So I don't want to be racial, but he's black and he's a big Juju fan. But this is not a dummy though. He's an attorney. He says he watches a lot of women's basketball. But give me an explanation for that stupid take on that. Won't be a top 10. Her limit is ability in the WNBA is a top 10 player. Oh, I didn't even. I've been paying attention to the politics. I'm very depressed about the politics. Lawyers can be dumb. I'm just saying, he's not. Lawyers can be dumb. I'm not saying that. He's not some dummy though. That's all I'm saying. I also said 2 things. He watches women's basketball. It's not like he's just reading things and not watching it. Fauci got all those guys. Yeah, I mean but seriously, that's like I don't know what that's like a take from the worst take you could get. I mean, I haven't even heard that Natalie Esquire say something that bad. She said, "Oh, I thought Caitlin Clark deserved second team All Pro instead of first," which I was shocked. She even said that. But that's like the first year. She didn't even say that was her limit. She didn't say she'll never be MVP. He said she'll never be in the top 10 player. Fauci, better hope he never bumps into me in person. Fauci who? Who's Fauci? I don't know who Fauci is right now. I can't remember who Fauci is. No, I know. Oh, Fauci, he was the head of the medical thing. Fauci, okay. He didn't do anything illegal. Oh, I don't know. Saying she is not going to be better than a top 10 player. If she doesn't win the MVP in the next 2 years, I'll be almost shocked, to be quite honest. Because he'll be dead in 10 years. Isn't Fauci like 80 years old? Here's the interesting thing to me. I've not heard one white person underrate Caitlin Clark yet. You find me like someone that was saying Caitlin Clark's going to be an average player in this league, or that she doesn't deserve the Rookie of the Year or something like that. So I'm disappointed because I don't want to see any color in the evaluation of players in sports. But they're doing this. They're making that about color. They're making it about skin color. There's a lot of black males that support Caitlin Clark because they know basketball and they know how good she is. But the sisters, they're not on board, most of them. Adrian Ross is. Skip Bayless, he's a weirdo. I don't know what to say. I don't care what Skip Bayless thinks. He underrated LeBron James for 20 years just to make a name for himself. You know, and his views are all over the place. He keeps changing them. You know, criticizing her for hanging out with Taylor Swift, like you're more famous than her. No, she's not more famous than her. Taylor Swift's the most famous and probably person in the world right now. He's just a sports fan. He's famous, more famous to him because he follows sports. Name a black NBA player that who said she's underrated. Well, Shaq was underrating her for a while because she signed with she signed after he signed what's her name, Angels. No, the NBA players like her. I'm telling you because they know basketball, and they're not threatened by it. See, they don't feel threatened by it. They're not female, so they don't feel threatened. They're female, black power female does not transfer over to black male power. It's not the same thing. They're not threatened by that. That's what the problem is, you know. So there's fewer black males that underrate Caitlin Clark than black females. I'm just telling you that it's not like all the white people are going around overrating her. Of course, a couple of fanatics are, but in general, they were right. They were right. So you can't say they were seeing race because they were right. That's my point. And that's what, and I don't even want, like I said, I don't even want that to be an issue on this, but it is an issue. And I confirmed it when I had this conversation with this guy the other day. If Caitlin Clark, I'll be fair about this. If Caitlin Clark was a dud in the WNBA this year, like awful, not just because she got double teamed, just awful, then every person who's a Caitlin Clark fan would have to look themselves in the eye and say, why? Why did you overrate her so much? Yeah, W360, I saw a video of hers the other day. She did something about why isn't the WNBA said anything about Caitlin Clark's stalking arrest? And I was going to do a video about this today, but I didn't have enough time. And I'm going to do videos without Rob, and then I'm not going to feel comfortable with one person instead of two. So get rid of the Carter talk. Everyone should know that White said that chemistry and culture was the most important thing to her team. Caitlin Clark's not going to retire and run away with Taylor Swift. So who was talking about Carter to the Fever? Haven't heard that. I seen it headlines and I seen videos, but why would you want to forget about the fact that what she did to Caitlin Clark, the cheap shot. She's been a problem in every team she's ever been on. Why would you want to ruin the chemistry of your team? That's silly. Just keep Kelsey Mitchell. They're both two guards. That's such a I didn't even do a video of that because I thought it was such a non-issue. I wouldn't want her on my team. But if she ever just develops a deadly 3-point shot, she will be unstoppable. And I think she could be an excellent defender. I don't think she's an excellent defender now, but she's not like DJ Carrington, but she could be. She's so athletic and quick. Kennedy Carter is very talented. You hate the Eagles. I live in Philadelphia. I'm a Packers fan first. Been a Packers fan since I was 2 years old, but I don't hate the Eagles. So what's going to happen is that Eagles play the Bills because the Bills are my second favorite team after the Packers. That would be, and the Eagles my third. I lived in Philadelphia, so I kind of root for them secondarily. Well, either way, one of the teams I want to win, but I have to root for the Bills because they've never won it. And Josh Allen's, my mother's 93 years old, almost 94, and she's a Bills fan, and she wants him to win the Super Bowl so bad. And, Josh Allen's only going to be young for so long. So I'm really pulling for the Bills this year. I think Detroit was a threat to win it all, but they had too many injuries in their defense. And, of course, they had all those turnovers too, but I get that. But I think the injuries caught up with them when they started playing, when they played a really good offensive team who was playing well. Chiefs are going down. They're going down this week. Chiefs are going down. Chiefs are going down. Going down big against the Bills. Down big. Bills by 24. Just kidding. The Chiefs were like 1.5 point favorites, which means they're nearly not favored because they're at home. They usually give you like 2.5 points at least for home. Yeah, hopefully they'll have some refs that aren't Chiefs fans this time. So, Basil, what are you on your picks? I lost track of your picks, so you didn't write them down. There's been 10 games. Do you have what you have? I have a feeling I know what it is, but I don't have them written down. You picked the Bills last week, I know that, but you didn't pick you picked the Lions too, though. You've lost two. You've lost three. You've lost at least three, right? You didn't pick the Lions, and you lost two the week before that. Now I'll have to look it up because there's no way you've lost only two. I'll go have to look it up then. Yeah, because there's no way you only lost two. I know that you had an upset. I know you picked the Bills. I picked the Bills last week too. Okay, there's no way you've lost two. No one's lost two so far. The favorites are only 5-5. No, you can, it's not much of an upset when the point spread's 1 or 2 points. But first place is 7-3. My friend Rich, Rob, and my friend Chris are all 7-3. The next round is worth 2 points. Oh yeah, so is that game really going to start at 7:30? Doesn't matter. I always tape games anyways, but it should be taped automatically. I better turn on the TV and make sure it's taped, but it should be. I think it tapes all my college and pro games. So next week I am taking the Bills and the Eagles. That's my picks. Bills and Eagles. And I would take the Bills even if I wasn't a Bills fan. I just feel something like Josh Allen is going to win this. He's going to find a way to win this game for them. And the Chiefs keep winning these close games. At some point, they're going to lose another close game. They lost one of the Bills already. Taylor Swift will be at a Fever game. I can't imagine the security that it will be necessary for her to come to a game, though. That's the only, because there's no. Do they have any luxury boxes at? I guess they do, right? Do they have any luxury boxes at Indiana Pacers game? Chiefs of Vonda Phillips is disagreeing on both of them for me. Anybody can win those games, you know that. The Giants were 9-7 when they won the Super Bowl, so they had 4 straight upsets. Yeah, do the Pacers have luxury boxes? They do for the Sixers games. So I'm assuming they must have luxury box. I just never see them when they're playing the games. They have luxury type boxes because I know this old assistant coach from the Eagles, Aaron McKee. I know Aaron McKee, and yes, because he's married to a friend of mine, and she was sometimes in a luxury type box, or at least I thought she was in seats. But there was a place to hang out though. I'd have to think. I guess there's not luxury boxes at a basketball game. I can't remember. Anybody else can remember a specific luxury box at NBA games? Or they just always have the celebrities in the front row seats by the chairs where they can get run over. There was definitely a back room where she went to that she had got things to eat and drink and stuff like that. Because I went to one game with her. She went in there, but it was like closed off to me. Field like on top, right? Do they still call it Rich Stadium? I think they changed the name. They changed the name. I saw a bunch of concerts when it was called Rich Stadium, but I think they changed the name. And I forget the name of it. I have to look it up. Let me look it up right now. Buffalo Bills. Doesn't matter because there's no more games there this year. Buffalo Bills. It's called Highmark Stadium. But it's still in Orchard Park. I think it just changed the name when they renovated it. Yeah, Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park. That's what it's called, right? And that's what it is right now. Yeah, they don't call it Rich Stadium anymore. I didn't think so. That's what. What don't the Pacers? The Pacers and the Fevers play at the same place, right? The Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So, what'd you guys think of the new practice facility? $78 million just to practice. Why can't they just practice at Cambridge? Pacers is at the NBA. Hey, the Pacers did pretty well last year. They made the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Yeah, Taylor Swift would require a lot of security. I mean, she's used to it, but she has her own security, so. So, do you guys think that if it was someone besides Caitlin Clark and a stalker got arrested, what's her name? Jackson? I forget her first name. Who's the head of the president? Wouldn't she have put out a letter or made a comment or something like that. Wouldn't the commissioner have said something about, stalking's bad for the players? We got to try to control these trolls or whatever. Or same thing if someone had been with Taylor Swift, the WNBA would have put out a tweet at least saying, "Hey, look at one of our players at the luxury." But it just seems weird that they just ignored it. It's intentional. They just said, "Well, we can't give her any publicity." They have a professional volleyball team. Are they going to practice at the facility too? Are they going to share the facility with the professional volleyball team? It's an old empty jailhouse. Is that what it was? Oh, all right. I didn't know what was there before. I heard it was within walking distance of the stadium. The Chiefs got to go down. We can't have them win 3 Super Bowls in a row because no one's done that. The Packers are the only team that have ever won 3 championships in a row, and they did it twice. 1929 to 1931 and 1965 to 1967. No other team has done it, and the Packers have done it twice. And the Chiefs lost the first Super Bowl to the Packers, 35-10. I watched that game. It was 14. It was 14-10 at halftime. It was actually a close game at halftime. She loves money and celebrity. Yeah, I don't think she's too caught up in that as much as you might think she will be. But I think she to her, it's all about basketball. It's not to Angel Reese. It's about being a celebrity. To Caitlin Clark, I want to be the best basketball player of all time, or the best basketball player I can be. And the celebrity is just coming with it because of her style of play, I think. I think she's handled it in a very mature way. Yep, I heard that too, Bobby. They have childcare and yoga. And they have 2 courts right next to each other. So it's not one place to practice, but 2. That makes sense. If you're going to have a whole building like that, you might as well have 2 courts instead of 1. So if someone's scrimmaging or something, someone else can be working on their game over there or whatever. I think CC seems so grounded for the unbelievable amount of celebrity status she has right now and accomplishments. So what'd you guys think of that Gino take on Paige? If you saw a couple of our videos earlier, I brought that up. I asked Rob that straight in a video. I said, how are they going to rate Paige if she doesn't win a championship this year? How are all the UConn Mafia going to rate Paige? Lo and behold, halfway through the season, when it looks like they're ranked 6th in the country now and not like number 2, it looks like she's not going to win a championship. She could. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Sarah Strong's a really good player, and she's only going to get better because she's a freshman. How are they going to rate her if she doesn't win a championship? So this comes out halfway through the season. I knew it was coming out if she didn't win at the end of the year. I just didn't know it would come out halfway through the season. It was so, yeah, you think Gino's going like slowly, like mentally. He doesn't he's not old where he can't think straight. Like he's senile, but he seems mentally not to be the same person. Is it you think it's the frustration from not winning a championship since 2016 that it's affected him mentally because he was so used to winning? Didn't he won 11 championships? I don't know when he won his first one in like 95 or something. I forgot the first one he won. Was it 95? Didn't he win 11 championships in like 21 years or something? And he's winning them like every other year. And now he hasn't won one for 8 years. Do you think that, along with a little bit with the age, has affected him mentally where he's not he's not thinking clearly, even though I wouldn't say he's like I said, he doesn't have Alzheimer's or senile, but he seems to affect the things that he says. I don't know what I'm saying exactly. I just think he seems to be losing it slowly. Let's put it that way. Yes, he seems burnt out. And well, you can't say he's not a great coach, but he was also a great recruiter. So, for whatever you want to say, that's the same thing with Dawn Staley, though. Yes, she's a great coach, but she's also a great recruiter. Look how she replenished her South Carolina team last year. She returned one starter and won the championship on an undefeated team the next year. Now, I don't know why the year before, Camila Cardoza didn't start, but she did get a lot of playing time. Raven Johnson was the only starter that returned, but I thought she should have started the year before. Everybody says that. He ruined Paige. Let me get a drink of water. Well, Paige can always turn it around if she has the right coach in the WNBA, as long as she remains healthy, of course. Yeah, wouldn't that have been interesting if she got injured? Like, let's say that injury that occurred, which is pretty early in the year, right? Was it like 12 games in? And she was out for the year. That would have been interesting. Does she leave? Does she come back for 6 year? No, but when Mick did a video on her, he figured out he figured out how old she was wrong by a year. And so I don't know, I just happened to watch the video because I said, wait a minute, that's not right. She's like, I think she's 3 months older than Caitlin Clark. I think her birthday's in October and Caitlin Clark's in January. I said, that's not right. She's not going to be 25 near the end of her first year. He said he's going to be almost 25. She's going to be almost 24 at the end of her first year. Because her birthday's in October. And I said, Mick, I left him a note, not from Mark and Rob's, probably a different from Ultimate Rankings, a different account that I have. I said, Mick, I don't know how you guys do math in Ireland, but dude, you got it a year off. And I thought that wasn't really insulting. And he insulted me back by saying, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how to do math, and you ask him, this is wrong. I go, instead of just double checking after someone pointed out that he was wrong about the year, he doubled down on it and basically insulted me after I basically corrected him in a nice way. So then I said something a little bit sarcastic after that. And then he didn't respond after that because then he realized he was wrong. So I don't know. She's born in October. JJ Lee, I agree that she should have been in the weight room maybe since before. Caitlin Clark started going to the weight room after her freshman year. I don't know how much she worked out before then, but she specifically said she hit the gym after her freshman year because she wanted to get stronger and she wanted to improve her passing. And I think she wanted to put more, and she liked the logo 3. She could already make them, but I thought if I get stronger, I'll continue to be able to make the logo 3s. And then she knew they were moving the 3-point line back at some point. And so Caitlin Clark did start working out with weights after her freshman year. People saying, oh, she's not strong. She's strong enough. She's just getting hacked like crazy. It's like it has nothing to do with strength, you know. You get hacked like crazy, you get hit in the head. It doesn't matter how strong you are when you get hit in the head. Yeah, I think that Asia Wilson. I agree with some videos that Mick has put out. He's done the same video like 8 times. So is a problem because they want her to be face of the league, and anytime she doesn't win anything, her fans all complain, her coaches, her teammates complain, and she's not likable. It's just I don't think it matters whether you're a Caitlin Clark fan or not. She's just not likable. There's nothing likable about her personality, and her game's not that exciting. I do respect her game. I think she's a very good offensive player and a very good defensive player, just like I think the same thing Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart. Those 3 players, I really respect their games, but Nafisa Collier is the only one of the 3 that's likable. So you got your 4 best players, Caitlin Clark, and if like Alyssa Thomas and Sabrina Ionescu, those are the 6 people that were in MVP voting. Alyssa Thomas not likable. She was 5th in the MVP voting. So 3 of the 5 top players in the MVP voting this year were not likable. Are not likable. And I don't think this is from me, just from a Caitlin Clark fan. This is from like a neutral person would say those people aren't likable. How did your league grow when 3 of your top 5 stars aren't likable? At least Nafisa Collier is likable. Sabrina Ionescu, she was 6th in the MVP voting. She's likable. I'm saying it makes it difficult to grow a league. I mean, you're not always going to have like all your top 10 players to be likable. You want most of them, though. Oh, just Angel Reese is not likable, though some people like. Oh, I don't find her likable. Not that she's a top 10 player yet. She was attacked. Someone attacked Brianna Stewart. Brianna Stewart's not likable. Sorry. She is. There's something conniving about her. Well, I Alyssa Thomas did not have a vote. Players don't have votes for Rookie of the Year. I don't know where that's coming from. It's all media members vote for Rookie of the Year. Why would Alyssa Thomas get a vote? The players don't vote. They don't vote for Rookie of the Year. It was 60. What was it? Was it 62 or something? What was it? How many was it? Was media members? All media members. So it couldn't have been Alyssa Thomas. I'm 100% sure of that. I don't know if Caitlin Clark knows sports. She didn't even know how many games they play in the NFL. When she was at the Kelsey show, she said they were talking about the number of length of the season. She goes, "What do you guys play like 15 games?" She's been a Chiefs fan since she was 5. They've had they played 17 for 4 years now, but they played 16 years her entire life. Where did she get 15 from? Sorry, I was surprised by Caitlin on that one. She said something else that was wrong. But the rest of the time she talks about sports and other athletes and stuff like that. She seems like an encyclopedia in some ways for 22 years old. But not knowing that the NFL plays 17 games, or at least said 16 instead of 15, that surprised me. Maybe she was just nervous or something. She said something else, so I forgot what it was. But that was a good interview. I thought the Kelsey brothers came across as likable, even though I'm not a Chiefs fan. Do you think you really think the number of games in the NFL is trivia? Like if she had said 16, I said, okay, well, she forgot, turned 17 4 years ago because it was 16 all the rest of her life. But she said 15. That really surprised me. Sorry. It's only because she's a big sports fan and a big Chiefs fan. But it's not a big deal. Yeah, I know. That's boxing bulldog. That's my point. If she had said 16, I would have said, oh, yeah, she forgot it turned to 17. In fact, I had to look up how many years they'd been 17. I thought I couldn't remember whether it was 3 or 4. Because Rob and I were talking about this. We were going to put in a video. And I said, wait a minute, Rob, has it been 3 years or 4 years since they switched to 17? So I had to look it up. But I knew it was 17. And I knew it had been at least 3 years. Yeah, it was 14 when I was a kid. It turned 12 in I think 1962. I mean, from 12 to 14 in 1962, and then I forgot what year it went to 16. But that I forget now. It's at like 84. When did they go to 62? Okay. I forgot. I looked this up before. When did the NFL? Start playing. I forgot. Not 84, 78. 78, they started playing 16 games. In 61, they went to 60. In 61, they went to 14-game schedule. So Jim Brown, all those yards he got, or half his career, was only 12-game seasons. You got an Oilers jersey for Christmas. Bill Maher said, we will rebuild LA so long as the pinheaded idiots we have as president doesn't deport all the people who know what the hammer is. I didn't watch Bill Maher this week. Did he? I forgot. I don't have HBO. I just watched some of the highlights of it on YouTube. I actually like Bill Maher. He's a bit arrogant, but he's been right about a lot of things, and he picks on the very far left, and he does a good job of it too. That's one thing. He does it in a very logical, intelligent, statistical, educational way. They don't listen. But yeah, I don't think Bill Maher says things controversial on purpose. I think Bill Maher just says I think he's a straight shooter. Yeah, he doesn't care whether you like him or not. That's true. But I think he's a straight shooter. I don't think he has a fake personality or fake views. Yeah, Bill Maher makes a lot of money. I agree, Dennis. The biggest thing was my only disappointment on Caitlin this year was that her defense did not improve as much as I was hoping, and I'm blaming her coach for part of it. Bill Maher still votes straight. He strode straight ticket because he doesn't like Trump. He doesn't like the current Republican Party. I think he would vote for Republican if they were the old school classical Republicans, but not the Trump Republicans. So that's what I think about Bill Maher. I think he would vote for that. Coach Side's Defensive Coach of the Year. Stephanie White is not a defensive specialist in her play day. She said she wasn't, but she knows enough about defense to improve Caitlin Clark's defense, and she has a player development coach that could help. Retro hairstylist, you have a channel. You have a channel. Why didn't you tell me you had a channel? Oh, why didn't you tell me that? You support my channel. I would have supported you. I wouldn't like him. Why? Because it's on retro hairstyles. Doesn't mean I can't subscribe to it to support her. Daily devotionals to what? Every Time Dick and Harry has a YouTube channel. That seems kind of sexist, Bobby. What about? You don't mention any women in that? I'm just giving you a hard time. Bible. Oh, you do Bible stuff? Oh, okay. Devotionals. Is that what devotionals are? Bible stuff? All right. Well, I'll subscribe. I just won't watch it. Some funny chicken videos. How much do I want to give away for defense? 40%. That's what I consider deep. When you're rating a team, I rate offense and defense the same, despite that stuff about championships. When I'm rating a player, and in terms of their legacy or their ability, I look at 60% offense and 40% defense. I don't know if 40% is the exact percentage, but that's about what I think is. I think offense there's more integral parts between offense. Well, you have the ability to make your teammates better more on offense. So it's more significant and you have more potential to become a good player that way. And you have more skills that are involved with offense than with defense. There's team defense, but not as important as team offense. And you don't have the ability to really make your teammates better as much as you do in offense. So I consider offense more important for a player. So I'm putting 40%. So what do you want to call her? How do you want to rate her on a scale of 1 to 10 as a defender? Caitlin Clark, right now. Oh, I know people that say God talks back to them. You want to give Caitlin Clark's defense a 7? Okay. I don't agree with that, but go ahead. Who else wants to give? I'll put that. Okay. I can do a poll, right? Let me hang on a second. Engage your audience. Now I'm talking about, when I talk about defense, I'm talking about overall defense. So that can include her off the ball defense, defensive rebounding, her on ball defense, which is her weakness, and sometimes her defensive positioning on team defense, which is another weakness where she's too far off her person when they're by the 3-point line. Non Caitlin Clark fans would give her like a 0. Like anti Caitlin Clark fans, I'd say. Does anybody think Detroit's going to win today? It starts at 7:30, I thought. How could it be up 14-0? Badim's in prison. All right, 9.5s. That's insane. So I'm going to give her a 5. Six on a good day. You don't have to answer, Bobby, if you think it's irrelevant. I think it's very relevant. Irrelevant. Saying it's irrelevant without giving a good reason is a meaningless comment. Yeah, her team defense, her on-ball defense is below average, but her steals and blocks that she gets is clearly above average. So I'll give her a 6. I think I think she's a 10 on offense because I think she was the best. By the end of the year, I thought she was the best offensive player in the league. So I could be convinced of a 6, but her on-ball defense is below average. Sorry. And so is her positioning. Just if she positions herself properly on her person, when her person is at the 3-point line, will improve her defense a whole number for me because she's too busy. She gives up the 3-point shot too often. She's not on her person. She tries to get there at the last minute or just look at her when she shoots. That would really, if she stopped doing that, I'd give her a much higher rating. Our hairstylist taught seduction in school, or is it just me? I paid attention to Michael Jordan's defense. That's why Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time. He's the best defensive player I ever saw. I think Caitlin Clark's defense this year, whatever it is, will go up 2 numbers. Whatever it is right now, 5 or 6, it will go up to a 7 or 8. Because of Stephanie White, maybe the player development coach, maybe the assistant coaches that they bring in who are good defensive coaches. I don't know how good of defensive coaches the assistant coaches are. And because Caitlin Clark wants to be a better defender. Because Caitlin Clark wants to be the greatest player of all time. And she knows that's important. And she'll play 34 minutes a game this year instead of 38. She'll also have more energy for defense. So for all those reasons, whatever your correct ranking is right now, I would say she'll go up 2 numbers. And that will be a lot. Yes, I agree. Rebounds are considered defensive stats. I don't think her rebounding is going to go up this year because I think that the other teammates, I think they're going to have a better team this year. But that's okay. That doesn't mean her rebounding is not as good as it was the year before. I think if they get someone like Satou Sabalia, like instead of Melissa Smith, Sabalia is going to get some of the rebounds that Caitlin Clark would have got, which is fine. It doesn't matter if Caitlin Clark gets 6 rebounds or 5 or whatever. Yeah, I don't agree with you, Joseph. I think Michael Jordan, by the end of his career, made his teammates better than Bird did. Now you can call whatever you want as a team player better, but Michael Jordan, by the end of his career, figured out how to make his teammates better than anyone in the history of the NBA, in my opinion. So, besides, if you were starting a team and you didn't know who your 11 teammates were going to be, you would start with Michael Jordan over Larry Bird. And I like Larry Bird. I was the one that said Skip Bayless was an idiot for saying he wasn't going to be a good pro. Because I remember when that controversy came up, and I watched the semifinal and the final game of the 1979 80. Was it 70? It was 79. 79 was 80 when he played against Magic. And I said, my God, he's all over the court. He does everything for that team. It doesn't matter how slow he is. He's too good a player. You could see the intangibles. It was so obvious. The intangibles of Larry Bird were so obvious. It wasn't even funny. And I wasn't even that old at the time. And I could see that right away. I was like 79, yeah. So I was only 20 years old. And I could see that Larry Bird had the intangibles. I like how Skip Bayless blamed the coaches and scouts that he was talking to for his take. He said, I should have gone with my own gut feeling. Why would you get swayed by that? You forgive my youth. I'm just saying it was Larry Bird's intangible. If you watched, and I only watched 2 college games that he played, the semifinals where he went off. He had a fantastic game, and the finals where he had an okay game for him, but it was basically, he wasn't going to be as hot as the other game, and he basically had no one besides himself, and they had a good defensive team. And you just watch him play, and like I said, I wasn't an expert on basketball at the time, but I could see that his speed didn't matter because he was all over the court doing everything. I think Michael Jordan early in his career got frustrated with the lack of talent the Bulls had when he played with Chicago. And he said, I'm just going to have to do it myself. These guys suck. Larry Bird, even though the Celtics didn't win, I understand they turned around 32 games, but they were a team that was underachieving, and Larry Bird got there and got them to play together as a team. And so I'm giving him credit for that. But Larry Bird played with more talent his rookie year than Jordan did up until like his 6th year in his league. So Jordan was 6'6". So Larry Bird had an advantage, and so did Magic Johnson had even more advantage than Larry Bird because they played with much better players the first third of the career. And it's much easier to make average players really good than it is to make good players excellent players. Because it doesn't take a lot to push good players into being excellent players. And that's what Michael Jordan was at a disadvantage at that time. So it's deceptive to what you think about Jordan's ability to make teammates better. He's made it from behind the basket. Larry Bird made that shot more than once. Larry Bird was, until LeBron came around, Larry Bird was the best passing forward of all time. And I'd still say he's the second best passing forward of all time. LeBron may be the best passer ever, regardless of position. That's my personal opinion. I know there's Magic Johnson fans and Steve Nash fans and Jason Kidd and Isaiah Thomas fans and whoever else you want to put up there. But LeBron's all-around passing to me. Tap pass, yes. Caitlin Clark doesn't have everything yet in her pass arsenal. Why would that also not apply to Tom Brady? I don't like Tom Brady at all. I think he's a poor sport. And he seemed like he was underrated until he won with Tampa Bay. Then I kind of said, okay, maybe he wasn't overrated until he won with Tampa Bay too. I hate Tom Brady, but I don't know how you can say he's not the greatest quarterback of all time. Namath number 1. Namath was good his first 3 or 4 years in his league, and then he hurt his knees. Then he started forcing the passes when his Jets got bad, and he just didn't finish his career well. Yeah, if you think that's a crazy take for LeBron being the best passer of all time, then you have no idea what you're talking about, honestly, because LeBron's an amazing passer. Sorry. For you, you're going to call me out like that. I'm going to call you out the same way, even stronger. He's an amazing passer. The type of passes he can make, it seems unlimited. He can make it from length of the court passes. He can behind the back passes, vision from underneath. Everywhere in the basketball court, I've seen him make great passes and control a game. No, well, if you guys are just LeBron haters, then it's not worth even a conversation with you. But I'd say my favorite passers of all time has been LeBron, Magic, Steve Nash. I like Paxson because he's so efficient, but most of his passes seemed to be just the same type of pass, a pick and roll to Malone. And Isaiah Thomas, and I liked Jason Kidd. Yeah, well, I think it's stupid for you to think it's stupid that I think he's the best passer of all time. So If you think he's that far off from being the best passer of all time, then you don't know anything about basketball because he's an amazing, amazing passer. So you can say whatever you want. I'm saying you can make the argument he's the best passer of all time. He's just as good as passer as Magic Johnson, as far as I'm concerned, and he's playing a different position. And I'm not even convinced Magic Johnson was a better passer than Steve Nash. And Steve Nash had certain types of passes that Magic could never make, especially when he drove to the basket. Magic was a flashy passer, which made him seem like he was a better passer than he was, even though he was an amazing passer. He's not in your top 50. Okay, well, that's silly. I don't know what to say. You tell him Boxing and Bulldog. You debate it with Basil. I'm judging from your comment. I'm not judging from how much you know. No, I'm judging from your comment. If you really think he's that far off from being the best passer of all time, you don't know anything about basketball. Sorry, he's that good a passer. It's like me. If I said to you that Magic Johnson, you said Magic Johnson was the best passer of all time, and I said, "Oh, that's stupid. He's not even close to that." You tell me I know nothing about basketball. Well, I'm telling you the same thing. I know a lot of people. I know other people that think that LeBron James is the best passer of all time. I have friends of mine who are big basketball fans that think that. So, sorry. And they know a lot about basketball. So who am I going to believe? My eyes, my friends who know a lot about basketball, or you, some stranger? Sorry. His numbers for assists, he's a forward, but they're amazing. No, it doesn't go by who has the most assists. In terms of best passer, Magic didn't have the most assists, and he might be the best passer. But I'm not infatuated with LeBron. I'm a Jordan fan, first of all. I think LeBron is the second best player of all time, and Jabbar is third. And that's just the way I see it. And I think LeBron may not be likable to you, but that's no reason to underrate him. You're doing what Caitlin Clark fans are doing. There's no way to determine who the best passer is. that you can't just count assists. Look at Stockton. Stockton had like almost like a 3.75 assist to turnover ratio. Does that necessarily make him a better passer than Magic Johnson? No, but you can make that argument. That's a good standard. He had a ton of assists, and he had a 3.75 ratio assist to turnover. I don't know. You could argue he's the best passer of all time, John Stockton. But I don't think there's one statistic that you can go by. I go by my eyes in addition to everything else. Does he like Angel Reese? Does who like Angel Reese? Does LeBron? If you're a point guard, of course your assist should be better than your turnovers. Caitlin Clark was only 1.5 this year. She was 1.8 in college. She needs to get it. And I think if she had a better coach and she wasn't double teamed and triple teamed and she had better calls from the refs, her assist to turnover ratio would have been 2-1. My eyes are broken. That's fine. They're not thick glasses, really. They're actually thin glasses. And I have contacts, so. I think if LeBron had the clutch gene, he would be the second best player ever, but alas, he didn't. LeBron actually has more clutch game winners in playoff history than any other player. It's my understanding. Like, I think his percentage was actually slightly higher than Jordan's and way higher than Kobe's or something like that. There's different figures they have for like the last 10 seconds, the last minute, in overtime and fourth quarter. And Kobe's did not come up well compared to Jordan's and LeBron. Kobe's clutch gene is overrated, whether you like Kobe or not, if you go look by the statistics. Charles Manson's here. Charles Manson, is this woke black guy? Are you woke black guy, Charles Manson? Because I already barred you, like from 4 different names that you had before. People didn't like you. They said you were hurting the thread. So don't go and ruin it again. I've heard people say that LeBron wasn't in their top 10 or their top 20. And I'm saying, whether you think he was clutch or not, which I disagree with you, I think early in his career, he wasn't good at closing out games in clutch, but I think he learned to be. I think he came up big a lot of times. Then I don't think you're being realistic. Yeah, Kobe's clutch gene was clearly overrated. He just always took the shot. That didn't make him clutch. I mean, he means force the shot. Jordan always didn't even take the shot. Go watch the shots that John Paxson and Steve Kerr hit. Because Kobe would have always taken the shot. Jordan would just take it 90% of the time because he was smarter than Kobe. And he wasn't as stubborn and egotistical as Kobe. Michael's the most clutch team athlete I've ever seen, or at least most clutch. Well, it's hard to compare sports. I'll just stick with the most clutch basketball player in the history of the NBA. I think Jerry West and Larry Bird were very clutch. Yeah, and Kobe got a little overrated when he died at an early age. He was always overrated by younger Laker fans. They thought he was the GOAT. I only argue in the alternative when I'm paid to do it. Okay. That's not even true. Bronny has the most votes for Rookie of the Year. Did he really? Is that a joke or is that true? Yeah, it's a shame. He should have played another year in college before he even attempted to come out. Yeah, Caitlin Clark is obviously clutch, but her coach didn't realize it last year. Christy Sides, she gave the ball to everyone but her. It's true. Oh God, Laker fans are so delusional. I have nothing against the Lakers, just they're delusional though. Other than they cover them too much on ESPN. Chris Paul is a great player, one of the greatest passers ever. And I'm leaving out one other person that I think is there's one other player I'm thinking of it that I would put up there. I did say, let me just see. Now, I said everybody I want to say. LeBron, John Stockton, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, and Magic, and Isaiah. Those are the greatest passers, in my opinion, in NBA history. You can rank them however you want, but those 7 players. And Larry Bird would make my top 10. So might Jokic if you just want to put a center in there for fun. And Michael Jordan was an underrated passer. He was actually a great passer. He just wasn't at the same caliber as those players. Jokic is Ben Simmons is not the same level as those players, but Jokic he's the best passing center ever. So if you made a top 10, you'd probably just stick him in there because he's the best passing center ever. I think Bill Walton was until Jokic came around. And so, yeah, Jokic is a phenomenal passer. It's hard to compare point guard to non-point guards. So, but I'm trying to do that with LeBron because he's passing so good. But those are what I thought were the best passers ever. Mark Jackson was a good passer too, but I wouldn't put him at the same level as them. And Oscar Robinson, I only saw him play when he was older. So it's really hard for me to rate him. But I always thought Ron Strickland was a good passer too, but not at the same level as them. Yeah, Scottie Pippen. Yeah, he might. I guess Scottie Pippen would be the best passing. Well, I don't know if you call LeBron a small forward or power forward, or I don't know if you call Larry Bird a small forward or power forward. They're both. But Pippen, if you pure small forward, he might have been the best passer ever, right? Pippen was an excellent passer. Scott Skiles was an excellent passer. Didn't he have like 30 assists one game? Oh, he did. Someone just made that comment. Yeah. Wait, wait a minute. You're saying Wilkins is a better passer than LeBron? Okay, you guys just don't like LeBron. It's just so silly. I didn't want to just invade it with you if you're going to be silly. It's not a fair comparison for Jokic versus the other centers. What? Because the game has changed? Why is it not a fair comparison? Oh, yeah. I heard that, what's her name? Candace Parker said, I think Mick did a whole video on this, and I agree with him completely. Candace Parker said that Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the world. And he made the argument she's not even the top 5 right now, which he's probably right, because she's still hobbling. I don't think she'll ever be the same player. And if Candace Parker wants to say they're friends and they played in the same team, and other people made excuses for Candace Parker saying, well, she's just her ex-teammate sticking up for her. I go, no, that's not an excuse when you're doing a broadcast and you're saying comments like that, and you're a sportscaster that's supposed to be objective and intelligent and informed. Then what you say is she's one of the greatest passers in WNBA history, and that's it. And still one of the best point guards in the league. To say she's the best point guard in the league is silly. And Candace Parker, she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. When Caitlin Clark was a junior, she said that Aaliyah Boston should be player of the year over Caitlin Clark. Okay, so Candace Parker's delusional when it comes to Caitlin Clark. She underrates her. So that's my personal opinion about Candace. I don't dislike Candace Parker, so it has nothing to do with that. I find her somewhat charming at times. And I like the way she's feisty and handles herself with the men on the sport and the basketball commentary. But to say Chelsea Gray is the best point guard in the world, when you're doing a broadcast in today's, it's today. It's not 5 years ago. It's not 2 years ago. And she was, even though she never led the league in assists, she probably was the best point guard in the league like 2 or 3 years ago. 3 years ago when she had her best year. Yeah, I don't get the impression Candace Parker likes Caitlin Clark. She underrates her, that's for sure. Because she wouldn't have said that, and she wouldn't have said Aaliyah Boston should be Player of the Year 2 years ago. Please. I know they both played the same position and stuff, but that's still. Caitlin Clark was so good her junior and senior year in college. If you didn't vote for her for Player of the Year, you were insane. You didn't know anything about basketball. That's how good she played her junior and senior year. You can argue about her freshman and sophomore year, but she got 34 out of 35 votes for AP. They don't announce the voting for the other thing. She won every award. As a junior, she only got 20 out of 28 votes. So 8 people were insane that year. And then she won all 5 awards. But we didn't say assists don't count for being a good passer. We just say you don't total up the total number of assists. Not everybody plays the same number of years. Not everybody plays with the same quality players. So you can just count total assists. Caitlin Clark, by her junior year, she was probably the best point guard in the world. Maybe by her senior year. She really was, seriously. Is the game starting? They're going to start at 7:45. Lexi Hall played 3 minutes. And the team lost both games and had trouble with defense, and he played 6 minutes the other game. Sorry. Oh, that's so silly. The coach doesn't like Lexi Hall, obviously. I don't know why. If Lexi Hall was more assertive, in shooting, I think Lexi Hall has never developed a good game where she kind of creates her own shot. That's what she needs to work on. She needs to become a better offensive force where she creates her own shots, develops a 2 game, stuff like that. There's 6 players on all the teams except for ones that have injuries. Yeah, I understand. Lexi Hall seems like she has a game that would be good for 3-on-3. Except for what I just said, the weakness in her offensive game. Isn't there a big game coming up? UCLA's playing somebody good coming up, right? No, I think Lexi Hall could be an excellent player. But right, she's had a terrible coach for how many years has she been in the league? 3 years? Is this her 4th year in the league coming up? Yeah, isn't there a big game coming up? UCLA's playing. Yeah, UCLA's playing LSU. That's a huge game because UCLA, I'm not saying they didn't play a tough schedule yet. I'm not saying they haven't played anybody, but they haven't played a tough schedule yet. So I want to see if they can beat some more top 5, top 10 teams besides destroying South Carolina. Because South Carolina's look great outside of the game against UCLA, but they got destroyed. So that's only 1 game. So I don't know who the best team is, but UCLA obviously deserves to be ranked number 1. I don't know why a couple of people voted for Notre Dame for number 1 with 2 losses. I don't know how you can do that. They had some bad losses. LeBron only passes when the game is on. He takes it. That's not true. He's hit a lot of game-winning shots. You guys just don't like LeBron. You're being like you're being just as biased as non-Caitlin Clark fans with LeBron. You've been listening to Skip Bayless for too long. You're in the minority too, by the way. If you look at the polls, the NBA voted for the top 75 players of all time, and he came in second. And then that was a bunch of people voted. And then ESPN's last poll, when they had 86 people, 85 people voting, they had LeBron number 2 also. So this isn't like my viewpoint. Like I like LeBron. This is an average viewpoint, the standard viewpoint. Doesn't mean we're all right, but that's a typical viewpoint. You're the one that's way off in terms of your viewpoint. Doesn't mean you're wrong. I'm just saying your perception of LeBron is way different than what most people who know basketball is. So that should tell you something. Maybe you don't like LeBron, and that's influencing your ability to be objective about Caitlin Clark, LeBron's ability. I don't particularly like LeBron. His personality is kind of like, for me, like Midland. I don't like him. I like a little bit about him. I don't like him. So I'm not crazy about him. So that's why I know I'm being objective about him, because I don't really have a strong liking for him in any way. And I understand his shortcomings. I think he had some playoff instances where it looked like he gave up a couple times early in his career. Does opinions also hold true in elections? I don't know. Notre Dame is looking good. Yeah, the game's on at 8. I got it taped, so I'll watch. Let me just. I hope they win, but they don't have much of a passing attack, so that doesn't bode well. I'm not predicting them to win, but I think they have a good shot just because they have a very good defense, and they have a quarterback who seems to be a winner. I hope he doesn't get injured, because if he gets injured, they don't have. Well, actually, their backup quarterback is a better passer than their starting quarterback. Let me just see. Make sure it's being taped. I got turns. Yeah, it's on. I'll start from the beginning. I'll watch the whole thing. That's loud. Oh, I turned it down. I'm going to go off at 8 o'clock sharp because I'm going to watch the game. But actually, I don't really care because I tape the game anyways. And I like to fast forward through the commercials. I just don't look at the internet. You guys act like I'm like a LeBron fan and a Jordan hater or something like that when I'm talking about LeBron, when it's really I'm a huge Jordan fan. And I'm indifferent to LeBron as a person. I like his game, except for certain parts of it, especially early in his career. I don't like his ego. He has a bigger ego than Jordan. Maybe a bigger ego than Kobe, which is tough. Kobe may have the biggest ego in NBA history, which is why he always took the shot. I don't. Mark wants students led to Big Bang. I don't know what that means. I didn't call it. You called me, Basil. You called me an idiot when I said LeBron is as good as any passer in NBA history. So I just returned it to you. You start with the insults. I never told, and anytime you've made a comment, I've never told you you were an idiot or say the kind of things that you say to me. I dismiss them when they're not logical and you don't make good facts. You're the one that does what you're talking about. And I just defend myself when you do. You have no idea how you come across with your comments, Basil. I don't dismiss them. I counter my argument, which is if you're going to change my opinion, you got to have better things than you're an idiot. Well, whatever, Basil. Go show me where I'm the one that first tells the other person that they're an idiot or their viewpoint is completely, crazy or something like that. Show me one time where I said that to you or I wrote that in my comments to you. Go ahead, show me one time where I said that or put in your comments, because you've said it to me, like you've done that to me like 10 times. So I've never done it to you once. I just tell you I disagree with you, and then I tell you why. Now, the guy on the phone the other day who told me Caitlin Clark's potential is only going to be top 10 player, I told him he was crazy because he is. But I was willing to bet him over it. But Bobby, I've never called you stupid or say your viewpoint was stupid. I've told you I disagree with it, and then I gave you the reasons why. That's different. You just don't like the fact that I don't concede and give in easily. If it's a topic I don't know much about, I'll give in a lot easier than the ones a topic that I know a lot about because I put a lot of thought into it. You're not going to easily change your mind on topics that I put a lot of thought into it. Why would you? That would seem silly. And most of these comments that we've had are things I put a lot of thought into it. Okay. And Mark, well, Basil can call in anytime he wants. He's chosen not to. In fact, all of you can call in anytime you want. You've chosen not to. AK Nation called in 3 times a week. He wasn't afraid to debate with me. Go live on Sundays. After football season ends. Anyways, anything you want about LeBron being a great passer, whatever you want. Monday's not good for Mr. Terrible. I did that. I chose that because it's like right before Monday Night Football. It's after the games on the weekend. You can talk about the weekend games. So it seems like Monday is a good day to do, right? It wasn't a debate, not with a totally unknown opponent. We just push Rob to the sofa. No. Anyways, if anybody wants to contribute to the channel, there's super chats and super thanks down below. Not saying you're not wise and not saying you are. Thank you, Mr. Terrible. There's super chats and super thanks, and there's a link to PayPal, as we say in all our videos. So, by the way, you guys have not been like, well, except for Bobby, you've never really told me what what videos you want, what topics you want. Let me know what videos you want. You can make a comment here, or you can make a comment on the in the bottom of the. I read all the comments. So if there's a video that someone else said they wanted some Unrivaled League, I haven't even watched any games. I just watched the highlights. But if there's any videos you want, topics that you want to do videos on, anything basketball or football related, as long as it's, I mean, if it's something major in sports, of course, I would cover it. If it's super big, comes up. Do a video on the racist Rooney Rule, please. Well, they don't have to hire. I don't know if it's racist. They don't have to hire a black coach. They just have to interview one. Is that really racist if they just have to interview him? I don't know. I don't know if it's still necessary. I think it was necessary when they made the rule. So maybe it's outdated, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There was really very few black, when they made the rule, there was very few black coaches. That's pretty bad for a league that's at least 70% black, you know. I should not be asking that question. Sick of losing as a Jets fan. Yeah, it didn't work out with Aaron Rodgers. He only gave the Packers one Super Bowl. Thought he should have gotten more. Joseph, you've gotten banned from every channel you join. I haven't banned you yet. How many people think I should ban Joseph just for the heck of it? 50 years. You've been on the internet 50 years? I bought my computer in 99. So I've only been on the internet for 26 years, I guess. You've been banned? I've only banned, the only person I banned from the chat has been the Black Woke guy because people said he was being annoying. And I banned some people making comments on the videos, but that's just because they were just insulting, not because they were disagreeing. But when they say you're stupid and don't know anything about basketball, you know, they say the same thing every time. And you get banned a lot too. He was funny at first, and then he started being obnoxious, and then he was saying too much, and then some of the people in the thread were complaining about him, and so really, oh, I first time I was on the internet was 99. That's all I remember. I've never been banned before. I don't think I have. At least maybe I have. I don't know. I don't think I've been banned before. I don't think I've ever been banned. I've seen my comments get deleted. Like a comment disappeared before because they didn't like I corrected them. They didn't like how they looked because they were so factually wrong. But anyway, all right, I'm going to watch the game. But if you have ideas for videos, let me know. Rob's on vacation for 2 weeks, so I'll probably do a video tomorrow. But I have to decide. I have to do it myself, which is I'm not used to doing it myself, so it'll be difficult. It takes a certain skill level to do that, to talk into the camera when nobody else is there. All right, so go Notre Dame, go Bills, and go Eagles, and go Caitlin Clark. That's about all I have to say. And Rob went with his wife and his family. I was kind of confused because he met her in Taiwan. But yeah, Rob met her like 20 years ago, or over 20 years ago, I think. I think he said he was 20. He was 42 and she was 22 when they met. What's your most important comment, Bobby? I try to respond. What was? Tell me what it was, and I'll respond to it now. What was your most important comment? Cradle Rob. You have to tell me what your most important comment is. You can email it to me. I'll respond to it. By the way, yeah, I had that comment with the lawyer that I told you about, and another comment he said was like he doesn't like the fact that Caitlin Clark gets so much publicity, and I said I don't know how much of it's because she's white, but it's somewhere between like 1% and 20%. And Sydney Sweeney, I'm old now for her too. So I'm hoping she holds out for me too. And he said that's way too low. He thinks more along the lines of A'ja Wilson. When I found that out, then I go, okay, that explains his one. She's only going to be a top 10 player and never going to be the best player in the league. Comment. I always comment. Mark the Nick is Joey IRC. Oh, you're Joey IRC. Is that your name? Okay. There's 4 million Joseph Diaz's in the U.S. All right. I got to respond to some text messages here and watch the game, and maybe have something to eat. Never use your real name on YouTube. That's the most important comment you made, Bobby. There used to be a telephone director, I know. All right. The white pages. That's where you found out where the cute girl lived in your school. All right, Bobby. I'll see you guys later. I'll respond to it, Bobby. I'll try to be nice to you since you're so loyal. All right. Anybody want to call in next week? You can. I'll put the number up again. I forgot to put it up today, but no, you guys never call, so I stopped putting it up. So we'll see you later, and hopefully I'll do a video for you tomorrow. And I'm going to do one on Lombardi and Belichick. I won't get any views, but I'm going to do one anyways because I'm a Lombardi fan. He's the greatest coach of all time in NFL history. All right, how do I end this thing? All right, where are we? Oh, there it is. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks, Boxing and Bulldog.